having more picks kind of in the top 3 rounds than we've had in a while. I think there's probably temptations on both sides to move around a little bit or just to sit and pick as well. So we'll kind of see what's available, and I think a lot of it's just going to be how the draft falls. You got to be careful of falling in love with players, right? Because then you start chasing things and getting out of whack value-wise and stuff. But so you'd love for it to come to you, but at the same time, I think you have to be realistic about where you're picking and where the strength of the draft is, and if it makes sense to move to a particular area to help your football team, I think you have to be willing to do that.
I mean, if we're being realistic, you need a wide receiver. The best one in the game is no longer on your team. He plays for the Raiders. There's chemistry. There's a veteran quarterback who's got a time clock of winning a Super Bowl. Kyle, they need help. They need help on the outside. They've got the 22nd, the 28th overall. Do the Packers and me? I mean, I know how you feel. Tell the gentleman how you feel.
Tell us. I don't know if that guy's drafting wide receiver in the first round. I'm sitting there watching him. So the puzzle piece is in place here, all right? You know the history. Never mind Brian Gutekunst, is not all his. They have not drafted a wide receiver in the first round since 2002. It's Javon Walker. What you don't know is they also haven't drafted a running back or a tight end in the first round since then. It's just not what they do. So you have 2 picks. You have a draft class flush with wide receiver talent, and you just lost Devontae Adams. So there are 3 massive tectonic plates coming together, and yet I still don't think they're going to, because you know what it always comes up for the Packers as an organization, as a fan base? Bring this up. They'll say, why did you need to draft a Packers receiver in the first round? Because of this. These are our guys. These are all killers year after year. These are building blocks. These are offense. 7th round, second, third. No first-round receivers there. Yeah. None of them. And that is their adamantium shield that they hold up against this idea that we should draft a first-round receiver. They may trade. They may trade back. Teams do things sometimes in where they're just institutionally we don't believe in it. And Scott, you know this. Like we think there are wide receivers that we can mold, and we have the best quarterback. I'm starting to think that not only will they not trade up to get a wide receiver, that they may not draft one with either of the first 2 picks because it's not what they do, and they think we have Aaron. We have a couple of guys that we like in the building already, and we have Robert Tonyan coming back. We'll get a wide receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round. And I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be possible. I don't think they're going to draft one. I just don't think they do it.
And Kyle, they don't need to. And part of what you talk about, the reason this is they don't need to.
But Scott, I have to amend this. That full screen that we just saw?
Full screen.
How many times have those guys gone to the Super Bowl? This is a personal frustration for me.
Yeah.
We are lulled into thinking that they are title town. They've been to 1 with Rodgers. They went to 2 with Favre. They've been to 3 in 30-some plus years. So as much as those guys have worked, and I respect all the guys on that screen, maybe maybe we can get a Jamar Chase and a Justin Jefferson. League's a lot different than when they drafted Donald Driver. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, maybe you break the mold and maybe you win an NFC title game one of these years.
So taking one in the first round where they're at is a good idea, but to move up and trade away additional capital doesn't make sense, because here's the difference. When you have an elite NFL quarterback, let's talk about them, Brady, Breeze, Manning, all of the true elite quarterbacks, which Aaron Rodgers is one, they are part of the development of wide receivers. That list that we just showed, the 2nd round picks, those were good players that became very good and or great receivers because Matt, you know this too. Part of the development of wide receivers comes down to not just coaching, it comes down to the quarterback helping those players develop. So when you have someone as elite as Aaron Rodgers, yes, he may want that first-round pick. Maybe he wants him to reach. But again, part of the reason he is great is because he can help other players become better. So to me, to give away additional... The Packers are a good football team. They're not just a wide receiver away. I'm sorry, they're not. So to start giving away more capital that they can use as more opportunities to get their entire team better, I'm not into the idea of them trading up.
Right, well, they're sitting at 22, and they have 28, right? And so while those upper-tier wide receivers, whether it's Jamison Williams or Garrett Wilson and those guys might be off the board, you still have guys like Johan Dotson, Treylon Burks, who are good players that I think if they stay put, they'll still be able to get those guys. And as you pointed, the history is the history, right? They haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round for 20 years, and they would have to give up a lot to get up into that top,
so
13.
Get up in there.
Yeah, so, but at the other part, this is the other point that you have to make. As a quarterback, the clock is ticking for Aaron Rodgers. And when you look at that wide receiver position, for the Green Bay Packers, it's Sammy Watkins, it's Randall Cobb, it's Alan Lazard. And so they don't have a primary number one. And that's what he's always been able to develop and have. But does he have the time to develop one of these guys like a Johan Dotson over the next few seasons?
The window is right
It's
now.
closing.
You didn't lose a wide receiver. You don't need a wide receiver. You need what you just said, a number one. And I think they are one wide receiver away. Who was the 1 seed in the NFC last year?
But I wonder about their defense. I just...
It's a weakened NFC, ipso facto, simple math, to say that they're not going to contend or that they should. I mean, losing Devontae Adams, a huge setback, something that absolutely has to be addressed. And I think that if you have a guy that you like, and I'm talking a guy that Aaron likes, because I don't think it's as easy as let's look at the metrics from Combine and Pro Day, who's going to work with Aaron Rodgers?
Right.
He's a specific, particular genius at his position. He is a master, and I don't necessarily, it's whatever guy falls, he'll develop them. I don't think that's how Aaron Rodgers works. I don't think that's how he's ever worked. And so it needs to be, if they see that guy, the window is right now. I can't believe you're saying that they have so many needs to fill.
Well, because they do, because I think every time that I've looked at it and was a part of making decisions, when you think that you're one player away or a team that thinks that they're one player away, it's usually a mistake. And I've been a part of those mistakes. We need I remember, again, this is a long time ago in Cleveland, we thought we were one wide receiver away from being that team that went to the playoffs in 1995 to 96. We went out and signed Andre Rison, made him the highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League. We were not one player away. Because every season your team changes.
So let me ask you something specific.
Number one seeds.
You're sitting at 22. They're at 22, all right?
Yes.
And they know we do want a receiver. We want to get one of these guys. One goes at 11, one goes at 12, one goes at 14.
Yep.
The run starts.
That's what I'm saying.
Do the Packers not say, we got to get up there, we want a wide receiver, or do you have to pivot on the fly? What's that like?
I'm a believer in letting the draft come to you. You sit, you be patient, and if you have to move up 1 or 2 spots, yes, to give away the 6th, the 5th.
That's for different situations.
To go up too far.
The Packer situation is, I'm like, I want to take Goody and say, be aggressive. Don't let I really want to shake him and say, you have all of these assets. Kyle, where are you on this? Like, move up. What are you doing? You're going to waste Aaron Rodgers if you don't go ahead and make moves like that. And you're talking about not one player away. Were the Rams not one player away? They were one player away, were bold, got their player, and won a Super Bowl.
Right. And really, they might be one play away, right? Because you talk about it, like you said, they were the number 1 seed in the NFC last year. So, and defensively, when you talk about the defense, they had a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball last year. And that could happen at any point to any team. But this is a solid group on the defensive side. It's a solid group. They've got their running backs. But where they're missing right now is they need one more primary go-to wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers to go and do his thing. Because, again, he'll make him better, but he'll also make him elite, even if he's a middle of the tier.
Final word, Kyle.
I think you have 2 years with Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl. After that, you were into the great unknown. After 35 years of Hall of Fame play, you need some lightning. Take a shot. Please break your mold and take a shot. Get some lightning. Win a Super Bowl.